Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of Solar Quarter and the First View Group, I am Pallav, your host for today, and it's my absolute pleasure to welcome you to this high impact launch webinar for the Solar Week Vietnam 2026. Today's webinar is the official curtain raiser to the Solar Week Vietnam 2026, which is one of our flagship conference scheduled for 12th March in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. I would like to thank everyone who has taken their time to join us today. We truly appreciate your presence today. Before we dive in, let me take a moment to set the context for today's discussions. Uh, as we all know that Vietnam accelerates its clean energy journey under Power Development Plan 8. This pre-event launch webinar for the Solar Week Vietnam 2026 brings together some of the key stakeholders shaping the country's solar and energy storage future. Today's sessions will explore the directions of regulations, the, the evolution of the market, capital flows, and project innovations spanning across solar segments. As a curtain raiser to the third edition of the Solar Week Vietnam, this webinar is designed to provide market visibility, policy signals, and forward looking perspectives on how Vietnam solar's storage and grid landscape will evolve beyond 2026. Our discussion will center on three main pointers, which is like accelerate solar adoptions in the region, strengthen energy storage integrations for round the clock solar availability, support Vietnam's broader clean energy and net zero ambitions. So before we move ahead, I would like to take a moment to make an official announcement. While we have already referred it briefly already, we are pleased to announce the Solar Week Vietnam 2026 taking place on 12th March 2026 at Hotel Grand Saigon, Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. Now, in its third edition, the Solar Week Vietnam has established itself as one of the Vietnam's most influential clean energy platforms, bringing together senior decision makers from every segment of the solar industry. We warmly invite everyone attending today's webinar and to join us Vietnam and be part of the depth conversations, peer exchange, and on-ground insights at the main conference. To give you a quick preview of what's coming up, let's take a look at the event teaser. I just like to request my team to play the video, please. Thank you so much. So before going to the sessions, we will have a short and poll among our audience. So I ask my team once again to project the poll so we can have an opinion from our audience. We'll be making it live for 30 seconds. So I would appreciate all of our audience to cast their vote. This is like what will most influence the direction of Vietnam solar market over the next 3-5 years. You have three options, so you can opt the best suited options. What you think? We'll keep it on the screen for 30 seconds. Okay, so I believe that you have all casted your vote. So it's time to begin now the today's sessions. I will just make a quick announcement here. We will have a live Q&A session at the end of the panel discussion. So I request everyone to put their questions addressing. If you want to have any specific question to specific speaker, you can put it in the Q&A box, and we will take all the questions at the end of the sessions. So now let's move into the core of today's sessions, our panel discussion titled Future Ready Solar Markets, Policy, Investment and Technology Trends Shaping Vietnam's Clean Energy Landscape. We are delighted to be joined by a panel of professionals bringing diverse experience across Vietnam's solar and energy landscapes. So we have today with us Mr. Thomas Jacobson, the Managing Director, Indochina Energy Partners, Mr. Dang An Pham, the Vice President, Carbon, General Director, Deputy Director, uh, View Phang Energy Group, Mr. Viet Pham, Head of Business Development, Marubeni Green Power Vietnam, Mr. Wu Nguyen, Independent Energy Expert, Miss V. Nguyen, Southeast Asia Head of Business Development, Rooftop Solar Division, PAP Stills. Hope I have pronounced all the names correctly. And guiding today's discussions, we have with us Mr. Vaibhav Singh, the Executive Director, Decarbonizations, PwC. Thank you all for joining us today, and I warmly welcome all our panelists and our session moderator for today's. Mr. Vaibhav, the screen is all yours, and take over the sessions.
Thank you, Pallab. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure uh, uh, being part of these webinars. And I'm really excited with the launch that you mentioned. So really looking forward to the main event and the curtain raiser that we have planned for today. Uh, from the point of view of a context setting, a lot is needed for solar deployment to accelerate. You have to have conducive policies and regulation. Pricing plays a key role, and hence technology becomes important. You have to have financing that has to come in. Because that's going to be the backbone through which investments uh, would catalyze this growth. And you have to have other requirements related to skilling, requirement related to capacity building, and all of these things have to happen to have an enabling ecosystem in place. Even if one thing is missing, the entire journey would get hindered. uh, I'm pleased to see that we are planning to cover all of these as part of this webinar. So, although we'll have a lot on our plate, but at least we'll be holistically covering all of it. And I could not have asked for a better panel for this, covering the entire gamut of all of these aspects. Before we proceed with the question, I have a request. The request is for the panelists to give a very quick introduction. This would be useful for participants if they get to know about you and about your organization. So I'm going to be giving the floor to each and every panelist. I can start with Thomas, if you can start with a quick introduction, and then everyone can also quickly introduce. And after that, we'll quickly begin with the proceedings for today.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Indochina Energy Partner is an independent power producer based in Singapore with activities in Vietnam, Cambodia, and Myanmar. We are a little bit different from many of the early developers in Vietnam in the sense that we have stayed away from feed-in tariffs from day one and therefore are not in the same type of issues as most developers in Vietnam are. I'm sure we'll come back to that later on. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Thomas. I would next invite Mr. Dang and Pham to come in and also give a quick introduction.
Hello everyone, my name is Đăng An Pham and I serve as the Deputy General Director of Vũ Phong Energy Group and the General Director of VP Carbon. So Vũ Phong Energy Group is the one of the pioneer company in renewable energies in Vietnam. We start since 2006 and till now we have shown many times to work in the business renewable energies. So now we do business in Vietnam, Laos, and Philippines. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, Lang and Fam. Uh, uh, Next, I'll invite Viet Fam for an introduction.
So thank you for your introduction. So I'm Viet Pham. I'm head of BD for Marubeni Green Power Vietnam. So I would like to, give us a very brief introduction about Marubeni Green Power Vietnam. So we belong to 100% belong to Marubeni Corporation. So I mean, as you may know, Marubeni is a leading Japanese investment and trading firm handling various products and services all over the world. So we have branches and offices in around 70 countries. So Marubeni Group established in May 1858. And in Vietnam, our presentation is in 1975. So we have more than 50 year history in Vietnam. And Marubeni Green Power Vietnam is mostly mainly focusing on CNI solar rooftop plus BESS, and we are now working on EMS also. Yeah, so yeah. Hopefully we can have a really productive discussion today. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. So next, I request if View Nangwen can come in and offer a quick introduction.
Hi, thank you. So my name is Vu. So I'm with Levanta Renewables, but I joined the panel today as independent. So Levanta has not requested me not to be associated with that for now, for this panel only. Anyway, so I've started the CNI business for in 2019. So it's almost 7, 8 years now. So since the very first booming of CNI in Vietnam. So I've worked with SkyX, Actis, and EDF. These are very credible investors, and I hope that I contribute my 2 cents today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, View. So then last but not least, so inviting V Nangwen to also come and offer an introduction.
Uh, Good afternoon, everyone. My name is V, and I am the Southeast Asia Head of Business Development for the Solar Division at Bebsteel. Bebsteel is a global enterprise specializing in innovative solutions for pre-engineered buildings and structural steel. We were established in Vietnam in 1994, and over the past 31 years, we have delivered more than 6,000 projects across over 50 nations. Today, we operate 14 regional sales offices across Southeast Asia, including Vietnam, Indonesia, the Philippines, Myanmar, Cambodia, and Thailand. We are the first and the only PEB company that integrate solar solutions together with pre-engineered building solutions in Vietnam until now. Personally, I have been working in solar sector for more than 6 years. I started my career on the investor side, focusing on funding rooftop solar projects. And now at Bebsteel, I am responsible for driving rooftop solar solutions throughout Southeast Asia, helping our industrial and commercial clients integrate sustainable and bankable energy solutions directly into their facilities. Thank you.
Thank you so much, V. So a little bit about myself. I am Vaibhav Singh, an executive director with PwC, looking after clean energy work here in India. I have been with PwC and have worked in solar for almost 15 years now. And I've worked on projects of different scale, from kilowatt scale to gigawatt scale sort of projects. We do a lot of innovation. It comes to sizing and mixing of solar, wind with storage and other sources to also offer dispatchable round the clock sort of electricity. I have worked a lot around distributed energy as well. And in terms of area that I would have worked in, so I worked extensively across India, Southeast Asia, uh, Africa, and Middle East as well. So happy to be part of this. So, with the introductions done, I think it would be prudent to quickly jump onto the topics for the day. From the point of view of context setting broadly, I'll request if Thomas can come in. Throughout this session, I can have certain questions I can ask specifically to catalyze that discussion, but request all of you to come and chip in as and when you feel necessary. I'll have some guiding questions, but the floor is going to be all yours to come in and contribute. So, Thomas, I would like to invite you in. Since we're going to be starting from you, it would make sense to have a specific context setting from a Vietnam perspective in terms of how you have seen this market evolving in Vietnam last few years. What opportunities do you feel remain for the investors, including, for example, market liberalization, direct power purchase agreements that are there, and the clearer framework that's now emerging, focusing on solar and integration with storage. So broadly, from an investment perspective, how do you see the market shaping up?
Thank you very much. It's been quite a roller coaster ride the last 2 decades, where I've been involved for 15 years in renewable energy in Vietnam. We had just started the first Power Development Plan 7 when I first joined the industry. We're now on our fourth 5-year plan, or end of the second 10-year plan, so PDP 8 revised. That approves about 50 gigawatts of additional solar, PV solar, compared to what there is now. So that's obviously a huge number. Nobody can be in doubt about that. But it is also a very big number compared to what is actually needed in Vietnam. The Pmax of consumption in Vietnam has the highest it has ever been recorded is 54 gigawatts. Obviously, you cannot cover a 24-hour consumption pattern with solar, ground-mounted solar. Of course not. Currently, the Pmax of consumption is only about 40 to 45 gigawatts. So that says a lot. That's because, of course, the weather is cooler. This extra demand can actually quite easily, and we've been touring on the conference scene for the last 6 months with this message, can actually quite easily be covered by solar and wind. Those are, of course, both intermittent, but together with storage, it is actually possible to have a near 100% renewable energy in Vietnam, at least the marginal, the additional that is to be brought on. Remember, we already have base loading capability of around 40 gigawatts in Vietnam. So that means that we are quite well covered, in our opinion. It's important to understand if people are hearing a lot of things, reading a lot of things in the Singaporean newspapers, for example, about the investment climate in Vietnam. It's important to understand that Power Development Plan 7 revised, which ended in 2020, was never supposed to have as much solar and wind as was actually introduced into the market. The transmission lines that EVN were allowed to build were not allowed to cover that much new generation. Therefore, all of these projects that were built above and beyond what was in the Power Development Plan, they created a clot to get access to the grid. But that was because they were built outside of what EVN was allowed to take of power. So a lot of the issues that we're seeing with why PDP 8, the one that's been running the last 5 years before we got the revision last year, why that was not moving forward as fast, and there was a little bit, that was simply because it was clearing out another 5-year plan that had ended in 2020. Now, because the Power Development Plan 8 revised has 50 gigawatts extra of solar, 25, 30 gigawatts of land, wind, etc., etc. Those are in the plan, which means you are allowed to build them, and EVN will take that power. They just refuse to take the power for things that were not in the Power Development Plan. That is not the story that is being told in the international media. That's obviously because they are interviewing the people that have got money on the hook for in those projects, but that is the actual story. So there is not a bad investment climate for Vietnam if rules are followed, and solar will play a huge part in the next 5 years of achieving the Power Development Plan 8. No doubt about that. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Thomas. Thomas, a follow-up question there. So you highlighted the pipeline that's emerging, also highlighting sort of challenges coming in, and some of it specifically attributes to network issues, also related to offtake. But if you can dwell a bit deeper on that, what other challenges do you foresee, even from a project development standpoint, and how have you been at Indochina navigating these?
We foresee and also foresaw very few issues if you stay within the Power Development Plan. Already in 2016, most advanced, knowledgeable investors pulled out of the market for feed-in tariffs, simply because there was the fear of, if you start building a wind farm to connect to this substation, can somebody come and build it even quicker, and they grab your spot? We called it leapfrogging. So most knowledgeable investors, they already pulled out of the feed-in tariff market, because everywhere in the world, feed-in tariffs have led to market distortions and investors getting hurt. And Vietnam is no different. And no knowledgeable investor who followed Power Development Plan 7 has been hurt. I would nearly say it that strongly.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
as long as you follow the rules, there are very few issues. We have the same, I was going to speak about that later, but in rooftop solar, there were also developers that said, well, the rules are unclear, so we will just move forward. Well, then you have made your own bed. You cannot complain afterwards if there then is an interpretation one way or another. So our advice to off-takers, factories, and most big international factories have actually not made the transition yet, because a lot of the offers they've gotten, they've been on, at best, dodgy legal grounding, if I can say it like that.
Yeah, thanks so much. Thanks for these insights, and also allowing for uh, uh, this initial address to come in, which sets the tone for the discussion that would happen. I'm specifically picking your point around solar rooftop because there is a lot of activity around it. So I think good you touched upon it, and I think this could also be a good point for me to loop in and bring in. We So, rooftop solar, given it's a key to decentralized energy future. There are various strategies that entities would follow. So, if you can come in and specifically highlight in terms of what your strategies, what your planning has been around solar rooftop adoption. You can cover Vietnam, but if you want to also cover other parts of Southeast Asia, please feel free to do so.
Okay, thank you for your question. So at BepSteel, our strategy is to evolve from being a steel structure provider to a partner in integrated sustainable solutions. Our main strategy is to expand rooftop solar. Our strategy is simple but very deliberate. We try to offer various and highly tailored energy solutions to meet the real needs of C&I customers. So before I worked in investor, I worked for funds, but now I work in BepSteel, and in this position, we feel very free to design different solutions to clients, because different clients, they have different constraints and tastes. Some clients, they want a turnkey EPC solution. BepSteel can provide that. Others, they prefer ESCO structures, where we can bring in financing partners so they can avoid upfront capex. And now Beb Steel ourselves are preparing to develop our own funding capability. This allows our client to adopt rooftop solar with zero capex and zero opex while still achieving long-term energy cost stability. So that is about commercial, and we will talk about our technical approach, our technical strategy. Equally important is how we early engage in the project. Because Beb Steel core strength is steel structures and pre-engineered buildings, so we design factories and warehouses to be energy assets from day one. We don't just build factories, but we build energy assets, solar structural loss, wind resistant, and insurability are all considered from the beginning stage of our product. This design-oriented approach ensures safety, FM aligned quality, and long-term performance of the project, rather than forcing us to compromise later through retrofits. And in terms of Southeast Asia, we have conducted feasibilities in several Southeast Asian markets, such as Thailand, Indonesia, and Philippines, where Beb Steel already has office presence. And from an energy demand perspective, these industrial markets are very comparable to Vietnam, similar to Vietnam. The key difference is not technical feasibility, but policy readiness. From our point of view, if the model in Vietnam works well, it simply needs calibration to local regulations and market structures to scale regionally. And I totally agree with Mr. Thomas that if we stay in the rules, we will be safe. So we are not in hurry, but we will wait for the readiness of this market, and we apply the same models that we have been successful in Vietnam to apply in those regions.
Thank you, Vi. I have a follow-up question. That question is specifically since you covered rooftop, and happy to know that you have been scaling it up at a rapid pace. A key problem within rooftop has been customer acquisition, and often a reason is all the rooftops are different, sizes are different, structure everyone would demand is different. So there is a lot of customization that often is needed. Uh, uh, some entities would try to standardize, some may also think at other bundling option. But within Pepsteel, how have you been trying to look at, for example, either standardization of these rooftop projects or any other means to ensure suitability of solar rooftop system across different type of roofs?
Sorry, can you repeat the question part again?
Yeah, the question is every rooftop is different. So how have you at Pepsteel trying to design and implement projects quickly over different kind of rooftops?
Yeah. It is like this. For example, for the own clients that we build the buildings already, and now they want to put solar power on, we will recalculate the load of the factories, and we assess the quality of the roof at that time. Our style is we will persuade the client about the result. Some clients, they still think that the roof is good enough to put solar power on, but from our engineer perspective, it is not. But we will not sacrifice our reputation if the client insists on going with a lower option or a risky option. We will ask them to work with another contractor. But from Beb Steel side, we will give them the clear report, telling them why their roof needs reinforcement or something like that. And for new projects, we will discuss from very beginning with the client, for example, the size of the factory and the load consumption of the factory. You just need how big the system is, for example, and we will discuss with them which standard will be applied here. TCVN Vietnamese standard or American standard or FM global standard. We need to set very clear guideline with the clients from the clients from the beginning. But our mindset is that we will never compromise with our quality and reputation. If the client and us cannot reach mutual agreement, we will ask them to go with another contractor.
Thank you, V. Um, uh, so what I take from that is a lot of that is happening because of, for example, family customers looking at rooftop as a way to also source electricity in a cheaper way. And the premise is you can source sustainably while also saving on electricity cost. And with that premise, I mean, I like to bring in Wu, uh, because CNI is important. The sector has been gaining momentum, traction, anyways. So, Wu, from your point of view, from your perspective, what trends are you noticing within CNI solutions, specifically for Vietnam?
What client or what trend? I couldn't hear it.
Trend,
Sorry.
trends.
Trend. Okay. So I think thank you for the question. I think I've shared this in the last conference as well with very similar audience. So what I am very interested to see is the switch from the tariff. So there is a new policy to be introduced in Vietnam. It's a two-tier component. One has to do with energy tariff, and the other one is capacity charge. That will completely reshape the CNI market. Previously, I think there's developers who owns about 100 megawatts Great Lake solar tariff. So how does this project will play out? I mean, we know that's going to happen. I know there's really like an announcement from EVN, but that will follow the trend following Malaysia, Singapore. That has happened before. So now the EVN tariff, nobody can accurately predict the tariff anymore. And what's going to happen with the PPA that's already signed. So a lot of them will sign in 2023, 2022, and that will last for another 15, 20 years. And during that time, if there's a policy change, what's going to happen with the contracts? So that is what's on the existing projects. On new projects, I think there are no other ways to propose to the client on a defined or a fixed tariff. And that's the only way that I see that our industry is moving towards. Because nobody can predict EVN tariff anymore, and that's gonna have to be the only way. So, to be honest, CNI solar rooftop will be less attractive than before, because the client cannot. So before we tell the client that you won't be saving this much discount compared to your cost, but now we cannot say that anymore. What we can tell them is that the tariff will be constant. It will be fixed. So instead of savings, it will be a constant cost of energy, maybe a low cost depending on the client, but that will shift the energy. I don't think any other developer here are able to provide a discount rate anymore. Please correct me if I'm wrong, and I would love to hear their perspective. But that's one thing that I think it will happen very soon. The second thing I see that could happen is there's a potential to sell 50% of the excess energy for project developed under Decree 58. So self-produced, self-consumed projects can be you can sell up to 50% of excess energy. So imagine if you invest those projects, and you like just imagine a textile company where you have like Sunday off or lunch hour off, then your curtailment, you're looking at curtailment of potentially 30%. If you can sell the 50% or up to 50%, all of this back to the grid, like I guess significantly lower, but still, then the project IRR could be improved. Then you can be proposing a larger capacity of project for the client. Yeah, I think that would help a lot. And that's the second thing. The third thing I can see is that surprisingly I've seen there's a number of sell investment towards like the sophisticated Vietnamese firms. I think they kind of confident that they can do their own investment capex model, and it's probably better for their long-term balance sheets. So those are the three trends that I guess on the personally anticipate that will go towards.
Oh, thanks, Wu. And Wu, from the point of view of customer demand, so we understand plain solar has been going for a while. Customers can source a certain percentage from plain solar. But are you seeing are you seeing any demand coming in from customer in terms of integration with storage or in terms of any innovation in form of technology or looking at newer panels or looking at energy management system in a new way? So anything, any demand that your customers are bringing in?
Yes. So I think I just want to address to be just from my personal point of view, BESS is still a little bit premium investment. So if you but I have no doubt that in the few years the capex will be even more. It will reduce a little bit more, and I think it will be adopted very soon. But in terms of government support or government policy, so back to the two-tier component tariff, with the capacity charge, an investment in BESS we can kind of give the client a potential saving for peak shaving. So that will help. And also I think so just looking from our I guess Levanta's experience in Malaysia, where the policy is very specific that, for example, 1 megawatt pickup solar require 1 megawatt of BESS. So if we do that for Vietnam, then the BESS will be even more attractive proposal to the clients. So yes, it will come, but I think it's going to be maybe in the next 2-3 years.
Thanks. So thanks for this foresight. So I'm now taking this opportunity to bring in Vietfam into the discussion. As we understand, Marubeni, the global player, bringing in learnings, bringing in experiences from different geographies. So, Viet, from your experiences, your learnings, when you look at Vietnam, how have you been trying to adopt and bring in some of the learnings from other geographies? Is that happening, or I mean, are there any endeavors underway? If you can throw some light on that, that would be really great.
Yeah, thank you. Thank for your question. So yeah, so Marubeni have lots of experience, in many countries. So our global experience shape our approach in Vietnam in a very practical way. We focus less on the new thing. We just focus more on repeatable performance and controllability, because that's what makes a project scalable and financeable. For Marubeni Vietnam, so our focus is solar rooftop CNI combined with BESS, and we are now working, very deeply in EMS. The reason is very simple. So rooftop growth is a demand-led, but operational reality include export limits, distribution constraint, and customer who care about reliability and cost stability. So the innovation we bring is the ability to turn rooftop into a managed energy product, not just installation. Basically, our global learning influence three areas. The first thing is the design standard and bankability, including equipment selection, conservative degradation assumption, and engineering that fit extreme condition and rooftop structure reality. The second thing is about control and measurement. So an EMS that can manage zero export and export limit, and also optimize PV to load matching, and this part the battery for peak shaving, time shifting, and provide auditable data. The third thing, about the safety and operation, especially for BESS. So yeah, the clear safety architecture, commissioning discipline, and monitoring that reduce the downtime and operational surprise. So for Marubeni Vietnam, technology and innovation really mean digital control plus storage and standardized execution to deliver predictable saving and predictable performance. Yeah.
Thanks, Ved. And with so good that you covered all the domains, right, from floating solar to utility to even smaller scale solar. But when you look at all of these applications, when you look at, for example, distributed, when you look at rooftop utility scale, so what is your opinion from Vietnam's energy mix point of view? Uh, which one do you see growing faster than others? Where would you bet your money?
Yeah. I think Vietnam need both large scale solar and rooftop solar. But they play different roles. So large scale solar is important for capacity and lowest cost energy, where grid can take it. But the bottleneck in many markets, including Vietnam, is not only generation, it's integration, transmission readiness, and curtailment. That's why solar rooftop become really important. So rooftop solar in rooftop in industrial zone is closer to the load and can scale side by side, and it is often matched by anchored by cell consumption economics that can be more resilient than relying on export to the grid. So I think the next phase um, is not rooftop alone. So it is rooftop plus BESS and EMS. So storage and control can make solar rooftop more grid friendly and managing export constraint, smoothing ramps and improving customer economics through peak shaving and time shifting. Rooftop solar, plus storage can become a part of a flexibility solution, not just additional generation. In overall, utility scale, supply manpower, but solar rooftop, especially with BESS and strong EMS, help us add renewable in a way that is operational, controllable, and scalable.
Yeah. Thanks, Vyat. And what you're indicating is a very balanced approach. So, for example, where there is land available, have large scale solar, but I mean, it would be critical to have, as you rightly mentioned, rooftop solar and possibly integrated with storage. So, I absolutely agree, it has to be a mix of sources. So, with that, I'll now bring in a final panelist, Mr. Dang. And we have discussed applications a lot, we have discussed technologies a lot, but coming back to the fundamental principle, which has been, for example, sustainability, looking at how these solar energy projects have been actually helping mitigate emission impact. So, on that, I think, Mr. Dang, you would be in the best position to discuss the complementarity of having electricity or energy as well as carbon management. uh, so would you want to touch upon these aspects in terms of how you have been seeing an overall impact, uh, overall from a carbon reduction standpoint through these solar projects?
Yes, thank you for your question. I think maybe we should see from the investor perspective because now the solar project as the Mr. Vic and Miss V and Mr. Wu share is not only about the money you can saving. It's not only about the green you can commit, but I think one of the most important now it will be the money flowing, because I think a few years ago money were very easy. Investor will put money into almost any solar project, but today I think it's changed. because I work both in rooftop solar project. I work also for BEST and also for VP Carbon, the company who's trying to have the client to reduce the emission in Scope 3. So I think now I think the blended finance is the new flowing, because till now the blended finance mean we have the missing money to lower the risk, because the missing money does mean we miss the support money from the international organization like ADB, like IFC, with the private money as like us, the private investor. So maybe this make the project safer and cheaper to fund. But from my perspective, if we want this the high quality capital, we must prove the responsible. Not only the money, not only the electricity, but we must show the ESG integrity. And I think that from my perspective, this is the very new with us. The second thing, maybe the investor not just looking at Vietnam alone. They are looking the whole ASEAN region. Maybe the same with the multinational company. The big investor, when they come to talk with us, they are talk about they want to moving their supply chain. So the supply chain, that means not only Vietnam, but also Philippines and also Indonesia. So they work with us both in rooftop solar project. They work with us also in BEST project, but they ask us, hey, they want to also have the carbon credit and at least the renewable energy certificate reg. So I think they want the same high quality. They want the same zero capex model. But as the Ms. V shared, they want the same safety standard in all their project over the region. And the last one, I think this is the combination of green energy and digital technology. This is very important because the green finance, as we do since 2019 till now, green finance, now we need the digital proof. They need to track your carbon reduction accurately. They need to prove our number, our electricity number are real. And so I think now the money will follow the data. And from my perspective, this is the new trend, and this is the way we must do with the solar business now, and maybe also for renewable energies business also.
Sure, thanks, Tang. And then taking the thought forward, credits and certificates, they have a key role to play in improving the bankability of projects, also helping show compliance. And that's where CNI customers also need it. But specifically on this, since you have been covering this, can you throw some more lights or views in terms of how this market has been evolving, specifically on credits and certificates? And any way this can be improved further, in your opinion?
I think maybe, yeah, as I said, maybe three things. The first, the blended finance. The second, the regional platform for someone or for the partner who can work across the ASEAN and moving from digital integrity. So I think this is maybe the missing of not only the physical assets, but now we must have more about digital assets. Because as you know, last week Vietnam established the carbon market policy. So I think this will be the trend roll very fast, because now the money come from different sources, and the money for the client, our off-taker, maybe change also. So I think this will be the missing must.
No, thanks, Dan. And then this is specifically point around role of stakeholders also evolving into public-private partnership, because you mentioned, I mean, financial institutions would come in and would want an appropriate structure to be there for projects. So specifically on this point of public-private partnerships, I would like to invite Thomas. So Thomas, if you can come in and highlight how crucial, in your opinion, is role for public-private partnerships, and how this can unlock future investments when it comes to solar adoption in Vietnam. If you've also seen any successful models being implemented, you can also touch upon that.
Yeah, thank you. PPPs, public-private partnerships, are not really super relevant for land, wind, and solar, which are going to be the vast majority of DDP 8 revised. They are modeled under, I think, LNG, and I think there's also a possibility under offshore wind, yeah, in the special degree there. But they will not end up paying a very big part. What everybody else has said is completely correct. What will play a big part is C&I rooftop solar, whether it's under a PPA model, which has been very, very clear. I know people have talked ESCO and leasing and so on. Those are not clear models, or they're actually very clearly illegal in Vietnam. And now under the direct wire, I mean, it's all very, very clear, and it's exactly what has been asked for. The other thing that will move things forward is the virtual power purchasing, which probably mostly will be wind. And if there's any off-takers that don't understand why wind power, which seems more expensive, is actually cheaper, then they're very welcome to contact me after this webinar. The solar can, of course, in principle, be done very, very cheaply. But because you are using a strike price under a contract for difference, then you have to look at what the wholesale market price is at the same time. And if you understand that, then it's very clear that solar is a little bit expensive to use for virtual power purchasing. But the potential is unlimited, right? Honestly, I think the VPPA, so Decree 57, and 58, which may be updated slightly, but doesn't actually need to be updated because it is already clear it's exactly what the investors here under ourselves and the off-takers, which were all big international companies, asked for in 2016, 17, 18. That has come to fruition exactly, nearly sentence by sentence, what was in the draft legislation at the time. And as Vu said, I believe it was you, Vu, on BESS, and that will also be a major driver. And PwC out of India was actually our partner back in 2021 and 22 when we were running the USAID project on BESS deployment in Vietnam, which we have now started doing actively, and that is together with C&I. So behind the meter, not in front of the meter, not on grid. Sorry, everything is on grid in Vietnam, but not on utility scale projects that are in front of the meter.
Okay. Thanks, Thomas. And Thomas, this is a great point. Also gives me a segue to bring in V. So you talked about significance of storage, how that can play a key role behind the meter as well as front of meter, both application. So on that, I would also seek your opinion because we have been doing a lot of work around solar rooftop. So how do you see role of solar plus storage evolving in the rooftop market? And how have you been preparing for that? Because it's going to be a significant part of your portfolio. So how are you planning for that?
Yeah, okay. So looking forward, we see solar plus storage as a critical evolution of the rooftop market because you see Mr. and Mr. Vic and Mr. Vũ, all of us share about this. And from a technical perspective, solar plus storage is becoming a necessary layer for rooftop systems, especially as Vietnam electricity pricing and grid conditions evolve. We talk a lot about the two-component pricing model introduced by Ministry of Industry and Trade, clearly places value not only on energy consumption, but also on capacity and peak demand. Our price are determined by these two factors. Technically, when we integrate BESS with rooftop solar, we look carefully at load profile, big demand windows, and the mismatch between solar generation and consumption. Batteries allow us to store excess daytime solar and discharge it during peak hours, enabling peak saving, demand smoothing, and improved power quality. This is particularly relevant for factories with high afternoon or evening loads. So at Bastille, we are also studying BESS system as fully integrated solution, from structural allowance for battery containers to electrical architectures, EMS control logic, and safety standards. We are also piloting a project with a factories also require FM standards, and they have the plan to build a car parking lot, having the charge station for the electric vehicles, to serve the demand of the expertise working there. And the goal is not to maximize battery size, but the real goal is to optimize system design so the customer can achieve the lowest total electricity cost under the current tariff framework. And I really believe this is the big trend in the upcoming years. BESS will develop strongly together with PV rooftop solar powers. So by combining technical optimization with engineering, policy understanding, and financing, we see solar plus storage evolving from a pilot technology into a standardized, bankable solution for C&I customers in Vietnam.
Hey, thanks, Fee. Um, so if I can take this opportunity to invite Wu also. Uh, so Thomas in his previous comment opined upon how VPPA and other business models are going to be becoming increasingly important. And we, in your opinion, also you highlighted how you see role of storage and other newer areas evolving. So, Wu, I have a similar question to you. The question is from CNI perspective. Would you have, for example, some sort of such requirements or market changes or anything from policy side that you feel can make a difference?
Yes, so I think I would I mean I I know this is a dream, but maybe not maybe not too much. So maybe I'm thinking of maybe like a bankable standardization of PPA contracts. I know CNI proposal are tailor-made, but right now I think for some bank, because I'm doing refinancing as well. So for some bank, it may be a little bit difficult to do refinancing. So maybe if there's a standard PPA template for CNI clients, that would definitely help. I mean, when I was with SkyX and with even I think previous developer, that has not come into question mark on refinancing of the project. A lot of the developers I work with, they won't refinance until they reach 100 megawatts. So how do we refinance that? That has not come into question, but now I have to do it. It if all the projects could be very similar, then that would help very much. But yeah, that's I guess my suggestions.
Hey, thanks, Wu. And we're coming back to you once again. And the question is also fairly similar, uh, sort of from a wish list standpoint. anything you would want to highlight? What more can be done from your basis, your learnings from previous projects or previous policies or policies from other countries?
Um, yeah, thanks for your question again. For now, I think we are quite familiar with the model of solar rooftop now, but most of the outline is now decided to do initial investment because it's easy. So it means that we need some new product for the market. So we back to the opinion from Vu and also Thomas. So I think in coming time, so we need to give a new product. It is solar rooftop and BESS, and also for Marubeni is not really enough. It's not really news. So that's why we are now working on also EMS. So we're working with some partner from Japan, from some other country also. So we try to launch to the market and something more newer. So it's about rooftop, BESS, and also EMS. So in weeks, then it is gonna make our offer more attractive. So the client can they can use solar rooftop and also another source of power. Let's say from EVN, from wind farm, solar farm, and also BESS more efficiently. So that's what we are doing now. So I think in very near future, the investor in the market in this market need to give us some new product. Yeah.
Hey, thanks, Sweet. I'm really looking forward to also hearing more news on that as you
So, but the challenge is that the regulation regarding BESS and some other model is not really clear for investor in the market now. So all what we are doing now is the pilot one, but we are trying to be ready for the market change. So yeah, so I think we are expect that the regulation and law will come soon and more clearly for investor to do business in Vietnam. So that's what I'm really expecting.
Okay. And Viet, I mean, another thought on that. So while storage is going to be coming up, do you see more of storage coming at the generation side or the distribution and transmission side?
Can you say that again?
When you look at storage, which is going to be coming along, so do you see more storage capacity coming on the generation side with the renewable assets, or do you see more capacity on storage that would come at the distribution and transmission side?
Yeah, right. For both. I mean, yeah.
Okay, both.
Mm.
Perfect. Sure. So then, I'm looping you in now. Other panelists, as you would have seen, they have highlighted sort of a wish list when it comes to business model, when it comes to technology, newer areas like storage. So, what is necessary for all of this to come together is financing, and that's where I would also want to bring you in. So, from the point of view of an emerging green finance ecosystem, enabling allowing access to cheaper finance. So, any wish list that you may have, anything that could help unlock this financing? Uh, Tang, are you there? Oh, so no problem. I think he has dropped off. Uh, we will cover financing eventually if he joins in. Given we have close to 15 minutes, I'm opening the floor a bit more. And my request to panelists is, given all of your experiences, looking at this Vietnam market for a while, basis also the on-ground experience that you may have. Would you also want to highlight one learning last year, if you have drawn any learning, if you have realized something which could be useful for any new entrant, any new investor? So, any anecdote or any learning from your on-ground experiences, and anyone can go in. So it's not in any order, but you can just come in and pitch in.
Yeah. Well, I will take the liberty of going first since I'm the one with the grayest hair. That means I have most experience, perhaps not the best experience, but the longest. My advice to all off-takers and to all investors is to follow the law in Vietnam religiously. I've lived here for 20 years before I worked in China and in Russia, and the legal systems of Vietnam are not that dissimilar to those two countries. If you follow the law, if you have the right permissions, if you structure your agreements correctly, it is not that difficult. If, however, you do not structure them correctly, or you do not insist on getting all licenses beforehand, then it's a question of how big the problem will be when you get the problem, because you will get the problem. A rooftop solar that does not have the full licenses, does the insurance cover anymore? As an insurance company, I would definitely fight back on that. Oh, you made something that no longer complies. As an example, if you are building utility scale solar or wind outside of the power development plan, is the state utility then obliged to buy that power from you, even if you have a stamp from somebody? Should you not have known that that stamp was perhaps not of the full value? I mean, these are not unreasonable questions to ask beforehand. So an unwavering insistence on following rules and regulations, and if there's a rule or regulation that's unclear, then say, well, until it's clear, we have to wait. I believe all rules and regulations are clear now. But for example, in 2022 and 2023, there were some very gray areas. And I think a lot of what got built there is actually questionable about what legal framework are they actually under. So follow rules and regulations, whether you're an investor, construction company, or you're the off-taker, i.e., generally the customer of the panelists.
Thanks, Thomas. A good point to go by the book, be compliant, because cost for non-compliance is really high. And yeah, specifically for new entrant, this is really crucial. So thank you so much for your views. And yeah, inviting other panelists, other fellow panelists to also come in and share some learnings from their side.
I think I'll go next. So just I think from my own experience, developing CNI projects require a very different risk appetite than utility scale projects, not just in Vietnam. So even for Thailand, Malaysia, developing CNI project is yeah, it's very different because it's a tailor-made projects specifics to each and individual client. If an investor treat investing in CNI projects similar to investing in utility scale projects, it's not gonna work. And that's I think just from my experience dealing with different investor, private equity, strategic investor, long-term investor. I've asked this question before, and in order to yeah, it's different. So if you are more focused on utility scale project, probably not focus on CNI. But then if you are CNI, utility scale project is probably not for you. Yeah, that's what I learned.
Yeah. Thanks, Wu. Yeah, important piece to prioritize well and then act in that direction. Great learnings. Yes. So, Vyad, would you want to go next and share some anecdotes from your side?
Yeah. So yeah, we are working on a CNI project. Many clients. So I mean, yeah, there's still many challenges, during the development of a new project, and also during the construction of the project, also because of some inconsistency in understanding of every province in Vietnam. So in some province, their understanding is quite clear. So it's easy for us, to get the project COD soon. But for some province, some merge province, and then the understanding of the local authorities still really confused, and then it creates some misunderstanding even between department within the government also. So it makes the project really hard, to get COD even we complete the construction. So yeah, so hopefully in the future, I mean in near future, then there will be a revision of Decree 57 and 58 will be issued, and then it will make the regulatories more clearly, and then it's going to be um, better for all the investor in Vietnamese market. So yeah, I mean, yeah. So this is what we experienced during some year, mostly regarding the policy. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Thanks, Ved. Yes, you can come in.
I don't have many experience or lesson learned to share. Most of them will be technical related, but I have how to say a foreseen message for owner players in solar markets next year. I believe everybody knows about this information already, that the PV price will increase tremendously, increase very quickly, because China is imposing the quota for exporting PV panels. And according to my observation now, the PV panels they will increase the price next week, and the speed is very fast. So from my side, when I work with clients, the end users, the factories, or the CNI clients who wish to have solar panels, but they have a lot of concerns and worries. So the implementation is very slow, and at this sensitive time, they will lose the chance to enjoy the good price in the market. And from my information, next year maybe the PV suppliers they will choose the clients, not the client choose the PV panels. So I mean, to mitigate your worries, or to mitigate the risk, you should choose reputable partners to go with. You should not prioritize the price or carry out lengthy bidding process, and it will lead to the loss of good opportunities, and the cost will be not effective anymore. So this is my point of view at this time.
Yeah, great point. If the prices have been locked in, and if the procurement is still to happen, then those entities are going to be definitely having some sleepless nights. So yeah, a good learning. We also have a few questions that have come in. What I can do is I can just highlight the question, and then anyone of the panelists can come in and take a jab at that. So there is one question that specifically is around uh, deployment side of projects, that there are several supportive policies and frameworks in place. However, some projects have still faced delays. So from your experiences, what are the key reasons where has execution broken down? Whether there are certain delays on account of approvals, or an account of grid readiness or contracting, or in terms of any on ground issues or coordination between stakeholders. So, basis your experiences, what you feel are the likely reasons behind this?
Mm. Okay, may I answer this question?
Yeah, please, please.
Yeah. So I feel there are two types of projects. The projects we work with financial institutions like Mr. Việt Phạm, Mr. Vũ Nguyễn, and Mr. An. These are the funds who will sponsor the capex and opex of the projects. So they are very strict in approving or qualifying the permits or licenses that require for the projects. So I feel this kind of projects will be more lengthy in terms of the projects invested by the client. I feel the project will be faster as long as the current permits and license of the factories are sufficient and accurate. I mean, before you carry out rooftop solar power, the current licenses have to be sufficient and accurate according to the requirement of the government. From my observation at this time, actually, we do not have many obstacles from the government. The licensing process is fast now, no delay. But if you have delay, maybe it will be related to procurement or any other technical issues, not about the licensing and permits process. In conclusion, for both ESCO projects or projects invested by the C&I client, I feel if your current permits and license are good enough, there is no problem. If you have delays, maybe it will be related to procurement orders from suppliers or something like that, technical things, not the licensing issues.
Okay, great insight. Thanks, Vi. And any other panelists who would want to go in? Yes, Thomas, please.
Yeah, it sounded like you said that you felt that licensing could be more cumbersome if there was an investor involved. I can guarantee you that no credible investor asks for any licenses that are not needed. It could, however, be that factories don't know what licenses they need. So therefore, what you just said there is very much an advocate for using an independent power producer, because we know exactly what licenses are needed and we own the assets for 20 years. And unlike an EPC contractor, we cannot run away because we own the assets. So if that is what you meant, well, then that's a very good ringing endorsement, I would say, of the IPP model, and that means Decree 57 and not Decree 58 under Vietnamese law.
Thanks, Thomas. If any other panelists would want to weigh in, you can. Otherwise, I can move to the next question. Sure. So the next question is, in terms of advancements, as the sector has been evolving, there is a focus on artificial intelligence, on digital tools, advanced controls. So, from your experiences, have you been incorporating or, for example, investing in some of these things within your portfolio or within your operations?
From our APC side, we feel that we do not integrate artificial intelligence much in our design, construction, or operation. That's true, because we feel like if we use artificial intelligence, maybe it will come from the supplier side, especially the inverter or stimulation application to stimulate the solar power output. But for design and construction, we do not use artificial intelligence much, especially the design because as you said, every roof and the situation of each factories are very and different. So we still haven't find the optimized way to integrate artificial into our designing phase.
Sure.
I think just to add on V's point on why, I mean, to be honest, I mean, we have not looked into AI that much because I think, when luckily for me that I've worked for a very reputable investor developer. So the technical requirement for those investor developer are very high. And I think a lot of our forecasts or PVSs, most of the time it achieves beyond what we estimate. Therefore, I guess, and also I guess solar rooftop is a very kind of mature technology already. So applying AI, I guess it doesn't help very much in this case.
Thanks, Wu.
Yeah, I have one opinion that for Marubeni Vietnam, it's AI play super important roles in our work. So we using own of AI tool for our work. So in order to improve our productivity of employee. So I mean, if we are only provide a solar rooftop and BESS, and then it is not really necessary to use AI for that. But some days ago I worked with one company, AI, not AI, it's a technology company. So they suggest to use their EMS platform. But the problem is that when they are doing some trial, some demo, for their platform. So after they connect all the data from the power source for the company, and then the platform gives some recommendation for the factory, to use their power efficiently. However, it's not really intelligent. I mean, it is just a recommendation. So I think it's going to be better if we can use AI for that platform, in order to make it automatically, to adjust. If let's say, for example, if the platform it see that one machine or one factory is consumed, not really effective, and then it automatically adjusts the power. That factory can use more power from solar, more power from wind, instead of using EVN power. That's what I think. I mean, AI is really important for EMS platform.
Yeah, thanks, Will. I can have also highlight some of the use cases that we have been seeing. So with some of the developers we were working and where we were trying to use machine learning algorithms to improve on the forecasting, because the intent was to forecast the generation from solar and wind projects a day ahead in advance. And for some of those models, we had looked at it. Another use case has been when you have to forecast the price on open market or exchange. Uh, so not the entire electricity is being sold under fixed power purchase agreement. Some of it has market exposure, and there it often makes sense to understand what could be a realization over a short term or a long term period. And there also there have been some uh, use cases specifically around it. And we also increasingly see a lot of O&M players also trying to build that in to understand what should be optimal. For example, cleaning cycles. Should there be rows that should have a higher frequency of cleaning compared to rows that shouldn't? So some learnings around it. But yeah, most of it and a lot of it is primarily being deployed towards storage, because there's a lot of room from point of view of optimizing your EMS, optimizing your BMS, putting in learnings from different kinds of cells. So that's where we also see a lot of developments happening, and also understanding from the point of view of battery performance, how should optimal performance be generated what parameters should be followed to also reduce on auxiliary. So yeah, exciting field for a lot of startups, to be honest. And those are active there. So yeah, and there is a final question. That final question is uh, on entities outside of Vietnam. What potential could they have if it's, for example, an EPC, or if it's, for example, a developer? Uh, so how open is it going to be for them to be coming in and be active in this? So there is also a question specifically around outside of Vietnam participants who can come in and participate in Vietnam market. So if there are any views around it, yeah, you can also air those views.
So from so just one, I think from my experience, there are still new developer coming into Vietnam last year, and right now, I know I've heard from a few people that there are new developer coming in, and to be honest, it's not that difficult to come into Vietnam to do CNI solar rooftop, and the barrier of entry is quite low. There are a few kind of minor barrier to entry, but I think it's gonna be. I've heard there's developer. There's also EPC. So there's a couple of I guess EPC originated SolarVest, for example. They are an EPC in Malaysia. I've heard of a Hong Kong, a Taiwanese EPC who have just joined Vietnam last year. They're setting up new office. So there are still like a lot of new entry into the markets.
Thanks. Anyone else who would want to weigh in on this specific and this last question?
We agree with Anh Vũ. I think the barrier of entry is not difficult, and China and a lot of players are very aggressive with Vietnam market, because we have high electricity demand, and we also have open policies now for renewable energy.
Okay. Thanks, Sri. So yeah, this brings us to this end of this webinar. Then I can't thank my panelists enough for openly airing all of the views, perspectives, learnings, anecdotes. And we discussed quite a few of these. So we discussed technology, we discussed policies, regulation. We also discussed wish list. So this was really insightful for me, and I believe equally insightful and useful for the participants. So once again, a round of applause to all the panelists for coming in and sharing these useful opinions. With this, I'll pass on the floor back to Pallab and Shruti. With the session over, I'll invite you over to come in and then conclude this, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vaibhav, for guiding such a focused and engaging discussions. Also, my sincere thanks to all of our esteemed panelists joining us today and sharing insights drawn from their deep hands-on experience. We hope today's discussions has provided useful context and sparked interest in the topics that will be explored in greater depth at the Solar Week Vietnam 2026. And actually, we look forward to continuing the conversations in person with many of you. Thank you once again, everyone, and we hope to see you in Vietnam coming March. Till then, have a nice day. Time to signing off.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much.
Thanks.